Hey Giants fans, welcome back to Giants Latest. Let's go ahead and get right into it. I want to start by talking about Tay Banks because I just talked to Patty Trina and we had a great chat about all things Giants. So I asked her what she's witnessed since she's been at OTAs. And, I talked about last week how Tay Banks' name has not really been listed on a lot of the OTA recaps for pass breakups, interceptions, things like that. So she said that, she definitely has noticed some changes in Banks this year that are all good. And this is something that defensive coordinator Shane Bowen has talked about as well, is that he seems more engaged and invested. So Bowen said that he's been asking a lot of questions and he seems, more into it, if you will, during these practices and OTAs and meetings so far. And Patty Trina said that she basically has witnessed the same thing, that he is a little bit more excited and he's definitely invested, and you can tell that he's engaged in everything that's going on. And it seems to maybe have put the past behind him, which I think is a necessity and great in order for him to have a bounce back year, which is what I think we would all like to see from him. So, obviously learning a new system is challenging, especially for a young player, but there are a couple things that I want to talk about when it comes to Tay Banks, because I think these are some things that probably have been forgotten about by Giants fans. So 2 years ago in Banks' rookie year, when he only gave up 4 touchdowns and obviously had a really good rookie year, he was covering wide receiver twos. And I think there was maybe some forgetfulness around that myself included, that maybe we forgot that he wasn't covering, the number one wide receivers, which obviously made it a little bit easier for him as a rookie to be able to keep up and make the plays that he was able to make. And then last year, in this new scheme, he was going against wide receiver ones like Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown and guys like that, who are obviously very talented, hard to keep up with for a veteran who's been in the league for a long time. Forget about a guy who's in his second year learning a new system. So I think that it's fair to give criticism where necessary on Banks, but I also think that we need to be open-minded and hopefully be optimistic that he can have a bounce back this year. Now, I think he can. I think second year in the system is going to make a difference. I think the fact that, unfortunately, the Giants did fire Jerome Henderson, who was the cornerbacks coach, but obviously him and Tay Banks didn't really get along. I think we saw that last year with some of the issues that him and Banks were having. And I think that having a new coach in here, having the second year in the system, and obviously having guys in the front four, or front seven at this point, are really going to be able to help out someone like Banks. And of course, the other corners. And then having Paulson and Debo, too. Having a veteran who's really got good experience in the league and who's coming to a team that obviously wants to help elevate them and help them win. I think those are all reasons that are going to help Tay Banks be better this year. And I think the fact that he's coming in with a strong attitude and he's ready to work and he's engaged in everything that's going on shows me that he's put everything behind him and he's also ready to take a big step forward. So I hope that we really get to see that from Banks. He was a good player his rookie year for the Giants, and I want to see him continue on that track again this year and see him have some success. So time will tell, but I think he's capable of doing it. Now, let's talk about the cuts because 'tis the season. I have to be honest, guys, I thought like June 1st, it was going to be like cuts immediately because you know what happens with these teams. They have to cut down their rosters and they have to make decisions. So I've been kind of surprised that it's taken until about now to really see some cuts in action. So I want to talk about one specifically, which is Jaire Alexander, because as of right now, he's been the most known or expected player to be cut at this point, and obviously a guy who has a lot of talent and had a lot of success with the Packers, although he does come with some issues. So is this a guy that the Giants should be reaching out to and saying maybe we should bring in someone like Jaire Alexander to help upgrade this defense and the secondary specifically? Now, I like Jaire Alexander's play. I think that he could fit in well with the Giants. I think that having another veteran in the secondary would only benefit this team. Obviously, like I said, there are a little bit of concerns around him, but I think the biggest concern for the Giants at this point is probably the monetary side of things. His contract with the Packers was going to be around $17.5 million, and I just think that where the Giants are at right now, after having paid Paulson Adebo, Javon Holland, and some of the other players that they brought in, plus having to use money for the rookies, of course, I just don't see them in a situation where they're willing to spend 17 or maybe even $15 million on someone like Jaire Alexander to help out this defense. I think that Shane is probably looking at this defense specifically and saying, for the first time since I've been here, we actually have a little bit of depth, and it's not amazing across the board, but I think it's pretty good from where it has been for the last 4 years or so. And I think they're finally getting a good spot as the roster continues to shape up from a talent perspective. But I just don't see it. I just don't see Jair Alexander kind of meshing with the Giants, them willing to pay that type of money. I think that, there are going to be other teams who are looking for what he's capable of offering. And I honestly can see him as being the type that being like, I'm only going to a team that is going to win and that is going to win now. And I think we all agree that that is not the Giants. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I just think ultimately it's going to come down to the money, and I don't think the Giants are going to be in a position to do that, nor do I think that they want to do that after just paying a Debo. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I love this time of year because of all the cuts, because I think it's so interesting, like free agency is, to see where all these players go if they end up signing with other teams. So we'll keep an eye on him and some other cuts that happen throughout the next few days, and I'll keep you guys posted on all of them. In the meantime, let's talk about Giants kicker Graham Gano, because he's coming off an injury, and the special teams coach Mike Gabriel, spoke to the media last week and was asked about Graham Gano, and he said, look, Gano has been in the league for 17 years. He knows how to prepare. He knows how to rehab. He knows how to come back from an injury. And he's a guy that obviously, because of his experience, has done quite well throughout the years. And he's a valuable piece to this Giants team. Listen, when they were winning football games, Graham Gano was kicking field goals and he was helping them get there. So I want a healthy Gano. It sounds like that's where he's at. And, I expect to have a good year out of him. I think this will be his last year with the Giants, but I do think they are prepared that he's going to be the starter. And, Gabriel was asked about this. Do you expect any type of competition between him and Jude? I can never pronounce his name right. So I will not, but he is another kicker, a Scottish kicker, I believe, that the Giants brought in last year, one of their international players. And, he hasn't really played a ton for the Giants, but basically what Gabriel was saying was that, every single player on this roster has to earn their spot, and Graham Gano is no different. So he kind of left it open to maybe there will be some sort of competition between the two of them, but I think ultimately Graham Gano is winning that starting role for the Giants kicker. They didn't draft one. As of right now, they haven't brought in anyone who's been cut, and I would be surprised if Jude is able to beat out Gano. We know Graham Gano has a really extensive, good history with the Giants, and then prior to that, obviously before dealing with his injuries. But he's a good football player who, like I said, have helped them win a lot of football games, and a healthy Gano only really helps out this Giants team be better. So I'm glad that he is healthy, coming back strong, and let's hope that we get to see the Graham Gano of the old days starting on week 1, because I know for a fact that we are going to need him. So I'm excited to see what he can bring to this team again, and hopes that he can help us win some football games. So we'll find out soon enough, and I will keep you guys posted if the Giants bring in any other kickers, so make sure you subscribe.